Some of the hardest challenges in gaming revolve around permadeath or hardcore playthroughs where you only have one life. When your character dies, that's it for them and you must completely restart fresh. Similarly, the hardest challenge in the Borderlands series is a one-life playthrough. This challenge is most popular on Borderlands 2, which is regarded as the hardest in the series, and it's also quite popular on Borderlands 3 with the updated movement and gameplay features. For my one-life playthrough, I decided to tackle Borderlands 1, the first game in the series. Before I get into the run itself, let me go over the important rules of this one life. The first and most obvious, if you die, this run is over and your character gets deleted. Second, this challenge is complete when you beat all main story content, plus the DLCs on the second playthrough. Since I feel like BL1 is quite a bit easier than BL2, I wanted to add the extra objectives of completing every single main and side mission on playthrough 2, which includes defeating Crawmerax the Invincible. So once those objectives are finished, the one life is complete. You also need to be safe when you save quit. If you're in any sort of combat, you aren't allowed to quit. If you're in fight for your life, you aren't allowed to quit to prevent dying. And finally, if you go out of bounds, you must get back in without save quitting. And finally, no major glitches are allowed, which includes weapon merging to make your gun stronger, anything that makes it so enemies can't target or damage you, and no XP glitches of any sort are allowed. I'm going to be playing Lilith for this run as she's the all-around best character for the one life. I'm also playing on Borderlands Game of the Year Enhanced. It adds some quality of life features that improve the overall gameplay, and you also spawn in with 2 random Gearbox legendaries. For my run, I got TK's Bigger Blaster as well as the Sucker Punch. These are great for the beginning, but they'll be outclassed very soon. I used a speedrun strategy of jumping over the fence at the beginning to take out these skags earlier than usual. This allowed me to travel to T-Bone Junction before repairing the Claptrap unit. Heading to T-Bone early is nice because it allows you to load up on money by grabbing and selling high-level weapons, while also completing a few easy missions to jump up to level 7. Because I waited to repair the Claptrap, I was able to take the bandits out at the same time for some added efficiency. The first few missions are extremely easy, so let's jump ahead to the first boss of the run, Nine Toes. The fight itself was pretty sloppy. I didn't expect this run to go so far, so I was still just messing around at this point. I decided to take some time gearing up and getting a bit more XP before fighting Bonehead. Doing the side missions in Skag Gully is a quick way to grab a few weapons and extra levels. While I was there, I got extremely lucky and found one of the best weapons in the game, and easily the best weapon on Lilith. It'll be able to carry me for 20 plus levels. My reaction should give you a good impression of how great this is for the run. What, dude? What? Level 10, 82 mag double anarchy? Are we trolling? I headed back to T-Bone Junction after turning in the missions. I wanted to upgrade my SMG ammo capacity because this gun does burn through ammo. The double anarchy made the Bonehead fight extremely easy. The sheer amount of damage this SMG puts out is crazy. Borderlands 1 has very simple side missions that don't put you in a lot of danger. They also give a good amount of XP, so for a run like this, it's smart to do almost every single mission. I don't want to show off all the boring stuff or else this video will be over an hour long, but I will show off anything I think is important to the run. Since this challenge requires 2 complete playthroughs, I don't want to bore you with the trivial stuff this early. If you do want to watch this run in its entirety with every single side mission and farm included, I have a playlist of the complete live streams on my channel. The Shot Crystal mission was next up in the run. These crab worms give a great amount of XP, and if you clear out everything, you can level up around 3 times. You're able to get some extra backpack space from completing the Claptrap mission, and you also get a shock artifact after turning it in, which allows Lilith's action skill Phase Walk to deal shock damage when it ends. I decided to clear out the first 2 rounds of the Skag Arena, and I hit level 15 while I was there. The third round scales up to level 18, so I was gonna save that for after Roid Rage Psycho. It's a good idea to complete the Moe and Marley mission on your way to the safe house because you get a fire artifact after turning it in. I also hit level 16, which was a bonus. The double anarchy is the main weapon we'll be using throughout this run. At some point we'll have to farm a new one, but for now it's still doing amazing. I wanted to complete all 3 of the story DLCs on my first playthrough. The extra XP and chances to get legendaries are too good to pass up. I headed to the Ned DLC before fighting Sledge so I could level up some more. The zombies in this DLC can be tough, however, if you keep your distance and stay aware of the new ones spawning in, it's very manageable. I also went ahead and completed every single mission in this DLC except for Brains because I didn't feel like collecting hundreds of them in both playthroughs, but don't worry, I'll do that later on. I think I expected Ned to be harder based on the face I was making during this fight, but this blue Maliwan SMG shredded him. I switched back to the double anarchy for the undead version, and just like that, the DLC is over. Before I went and fought Sledge, the last thing I needed was a mercenary comm because it makes SMGs even better on Lilith. I used a grenade jump to skip the run to Sledge, and now it was time. With my new class mod and the fact that I was 3 levels higher than him, the fight went smoothly, and now I have Sledge's shotgun. I can say the same thing about the Skagzilla fight. Even though my SMG was level 10, it was still able to destroy. That goes to show how strong this weapon is, especially when you have that mercenary comm. I decided to push into the Claptrap DLC next because I wanted to get the gift shop open for an easy legendary and class mod farm. Knoxx Trap definitely got me weak, but I still wasn't worried. The Claptrap units are slow and would have been second easy wins if I had gone down. After taking out the first boss in the Claptrap DLC, I knew I wanted to get some sort of weapon upgrade before taking out the rest. I headed back to fight Skagzilla for the chance at a new double anarchy while also grabbing some more XP. Right after hitting level 25, I got a brand new double anarchy out of the gun vendor. While it is only level 19 and not in the mid 20s, this will be enough to push through the rest of the Claptrap DLC. Grenade jumping over this fence makes the extremely long run through this area quite a lot faster. You're able to jump down from the walkway and skip most of the travel. Steel Trap was not stronger than the steel of my SMG. Now it's time for the big boss rush. Knoxx again was extremely easy, but this time he dropped me a legendary, so that was awesome. Steel was even easier this time. Minette can be a tough fight, but as long as you have a good corrosive weapon, it should be fairly easy. Just don't run out into the road because Minette can run you over, which will instantly kill you. With the Claptrap DLC done, now we can farm new weapons and class mods whenever we need. I wasn't looking for anything specific at the moment, but I was able to grab some solid weapons like an equalizer and a volcano, while also picking up some new comms at the same time. While I was clearing out some more side missions, I made it to level 27. I decided to use a safe strategy to fight Mad Mel. If you leave one car at the top of the ramp before you fight him, you're able to jump back out of the arena while still fighting Mel. This spot does not make you invincible in any way. All of the ranged attacks can still damage you. All this prevents is the insta-kill death of getting ran over, which would be an unfortunate way to lose a 1 life. Here's my fight against Mothrak, and this should help to show off how strong I am at the moment. I was 5 levels over when clearing out the bandits for Earl, so it was no problem. Crom got absolutely shredded next. I got a pretty nice mercenary comm from the middle of nowhere mission, which was nice to find. Janustown can be tough if you're underleveled. However, I was right where I needed to be XP wise, and Janus Cobb was decimated. After I turned in the mission, I finally made it to level 30. My build was coming along, and I could really feel the difference with the extra SMG damage and fire rate. Only a little bit later, after completing more of the Rust Commons East side missions, I got an even better mercenary comm from a vendor. While I was there, I checked the weapon vendor also, which paid off greatly because I got an even better double anarchy. This one did have a slower fire rate, but a larger mag and more damage. And then I also hit level 31, and now I'm level 32 after checking off even more side missions. The Circle of Slaughter can be difficult if you aren't prepared. My gear was amazing at this point, and even still, I took my time clearing out the badasses and using the natural cover in this arena to my advantage. Trash Coast was the next area I needed to clear out. King Arakob was pretty tanky, but once he exploded, I hit level 33. Rack Hive was not even a challenge on playthrough 1, my damage was just too much at this point. Baron Flint almost downed me, but I was able to go into phase walk, and it seemed to bug out his targeting a bit, which made for an easy kill. All I needed to do for the McLeod fight was take my time and pop up when it was safe to shoot. Because damage over time effects do so much in Borderlands 1, this random corrosive sniper was more than enough. And for the actual final fight of the game, the Destroyer was easily destroyed, boosting me to level 36 before taking on the Knoxx DLC. I also got this awesome corrosive bruiser, which I normally wouldn't say, but the mercenary comm makes this extremely strong. After heading into the Knoxx DLC, I met Moxie and she got me to level 37. After driving and driving and driving, I made it to the prison and also level 38, so that was nice. While I was looting the prison, I happened to get an upgrade to my double anarchy, so that was a huge win. I took out Mr. Shank, then met up with Athena, which got me to level 39. Right before I entered the Knoxx arena, I took out Helicon, which was a good call because she dropped me a pretty decent Spectre comm, especially for only being in playthrough 1. It was nice to get one now and not have to wait until the Circle of Duty. and almost right after, this Lance Rocketeer got me up to level 40. The Knoxx fight ended just about as quickly as it started, but I wasn't done here yet because now I get to loot the armory. I made it out of the armory with another brand new double anarchy, so that was awesome, but aside from that, nothing else notable dropped. At this point, I was flying through the Knoxx DLC, finishing up any side missions that I still had to deal with. The Circle of Duty felt like the first true challenge. While the enemies weren't any more difficult than they normally are, the cars driving around this arena are extremely dangerous. If they run you over, you'll instantly die, and I almost lost my one life right here.
Oh my god.
After some more careful mobbing, I finished out the Corporal Circle of Duty, which got me an even better Spectre comm. I decided to do a little more weapon farming before finishing the final Circle of Duty, and it was worth it. I got an amazing new Steel Anarchy with an 82 mag and great fire rate, plus the extra bonus of having my favorite sight also. I also upgraded my shield that same run. With my new gear, the final run was done in no time at all. Knoxx was even easier the second time, and the armory again didn't have much to offer. I did a bunch of annoying mobbing for Marcus, but using the Hellfire made it a nice change of pace from just shredding everything with the Anarchy. Once that was finally done, it was now time to go after Knoxx one final time. Again, it was very easy, but at least this time he boosted me up to level 44, but sadly, there was nothing great in the armory. I was ready to move on from playthrough 1 at this point. I'd completed almost every single side mission, and the rest I was saving to complete in playthrough 2. I figured if I was able to complete them at a harder difficulty, there's no point in wasting time doing them now since they aren't required. When I started up playthrough 2, I realized that the mission level was only scaled to 34, even though I'm currently 44. This made the starting enemies laughably easy. Because of this, I used a speedrun strat where you jump over the fence early to grab the power cell. I guess I just wasn't thinking about the enemies around me because they were so weak, so I ended up save quitting with red dots on my map. Not once, but twice. I honestly think I was so caught up in this speedrun strategy mixed with the fact the enemies were 10 levels lower than me that I just forgot the save quit rule. I didn't notice this until editing, and if you want to say this isn't a legit one life, I totally understand. In my opinion, I think anyone can create their own one life rules, and I don't want this silly accident to be the reason why I don't make a video on it or don't complete it. Moving on from the speedrun brain rot, Ninetoes got absolutely shredded by the Hellfire. I hit a pretty clean phase jump and took out Bonehead immediately after. The Roid Rage Psycho fight should show how overleveled I was at this point. I decided to start the Claptrap DLC early into my second playthrough. I wanted to be able to have the gift shop open anytime I needed a gear upgrade. Knoxx Drop was quite a bit more tanky this time, and I could tell I needed to lock in and focus again. I did make it to level 46 after Knoxx died though. I spent some time checking off the various side missions found in the Claptrap DLC, and eventually hit level 47 while fighting through the default bandits. I was slightly nervous about running through all 3 bosses plus Minac, so I decided to head back and take out Sledge first, which went just about as easy as you'd expect it to. There are so many small side missions that I won't be showing off during this run, but I am slowly making my way through all of them. Once I finished most of the missions around Lucky's, I made it to level 48, and my build had basically everything I needed to survive at this point. After turning in even more side missions, I made it to level 49, and I decided I was ready to go clear out the final map in the Claptrap DLC. I made sure to pay attention to the minimap during this fight, because now Knoxx is able to spawn in kamikaze Claptraps, which will explode and do a lot of damage. I made sure to clear them out and then focus all my damage on Knoxx, which ended the fight quickly. Undead Ned Trap is extremely weak, but he does have this really annoying spinning move that you need to watch out for. I was able to shred his health bar while he focused on spawning in another one of those kamikaze Claptraps. I destroyed them both, but then almost got exploded by something the Claptrap dropped or the body itself. I really have no idea, but you can tell it stressed me out. This is easily the closest I've been to dying. I jumped out to shoot Minac, but then I got stuck on the bus as I was trying to jump back. I really think if I had moved slightly later, that would have been the end of the one life. Even though that was close, Minac is still a relatively easy boss, and the fight was over right after. Now I have the gift shop open for any time I need some new loot. While I was farming the loot room, I got a really good mercenary comm with slightly better ammo regen, so now I shouldn't have to worry about buying ammo for my SMGs. I threw on the Volcano and the Spectre comm, which is amazing for snipers, and decided to push the Ned DLC. While I was there, Pumpkinhead dropped a really good striker, so that was fun to mess around with for a little bit. It made collecting brains for TK Baja a lot easier. Hank was not a difficult fight, and after turning in secrets and mysteries, I finally hit level 50. I also decided to complete the collect 50 brains quest so I could start working on the 100 brains quest after. I finally got all my weapon SKUs fully upgraded, so that was awesome. Ned was extremely easy with the build I'm running, and so was Undead Ned. His hitbox is perfect for the double anarchy spread. After turning in some missions, I got another. Just like that, I'd completed almost the entire Ned DLC. I was gonna push the main story, and then come back later to clean up the final Brains mission. The booze was collected for Earl with ease, and then I got the middle of nowhere bounty board all set up and ready to go. I collected the green crystals, killed King Wee Wee, and repaired a Claptrap unit, collected parts for Scooter, cleared some gross looking pipes and got all of the journals for Tannis, destroyed One-Eye Jack, collected all the parts for an SMG, and now it's finally time for a slight challenge. The first 2 rounds of the Circle of Slaughter were extremely easy, but once I made it to the 3rd round, I did have to focus up. Even with these enemies being fairly tough, the Hellfire and Mercenary combo is too strong for them. I decided to take out Crom the easy way with a sniper this time instead of running all the way up there, but I still had to make my way up anyways to grab the piece of the key. I collected all of Eric's trash, then went fishing with grenades while also exploding enemy ships. And sadly for him, but not for me, Taylor met the same fate as his brother. I decided to do the Red Rider Easter egg. For those who don't know, if you pick up the mission where you go and fight Rackhive, but don't immediately go and take it out, you can return to New Haven and walk through this door, which is usually never open. It will take you down to a room themed around the movie A Christmas Story. When you open the red chest, it will always have the Rider inside, which is honestly a pretty decent weapon when paired with the Spectre comm or another sniper comm like Mordecai's. I didn't end up taking one for this playthrough, but mainly because I knew it would be outclassed. I also decided to try the Rackhive skip this time, which was slightly scary because if I fell out of bounds, that would mean the entire run was over. To pull this off, jump up to this section of rock, do another small jump up, then toss a grenade so it boosts you to the top ledge. There will be an invisible box here, at least that's how I like to think of it. Once you're up, use phase walk and run forward. You should easily clear the gap. Once you do, turn left and head towards this big rock. Right before you get there, turn right so you're walking over this long rock pathway, and this will lead you directly into the arena. The awesome Rackhive was a joke, and it was dealt with easily. I saved the Claptrap from Old Haven. I then walked very carefully down to the stash from the Old Haven mission, which gave me some nice XP and an Iridian weapon, which I'll never use. Next up is the Baron Flint launch kill, which is my personal favorite strategy. You can do a pretty easy grenade jump from this metal roof up to the cloth. Once you're up there, run and jump to the side and then run towards him. This is where Sledge's shotgun comes in to make the strategy complete. Because this gun has crazy knockback, just line up a shot and you can send him flying to his death. After he gets launched, just turn in the mission and you're good to go. Even though the Destroyer was 3 levels higher than me, it still got absolutely shredded, and just like that, playthrough 2 was done. I gave the vault key to Tannis and hit level 55. Now that the main story was complete, I headed back to the loot room for some better gear to help me get to max level. I got a penetrator, a skullmasher, a better volcano, a Surkov, and then finally I got what I was looking for. While it isn't perfect because it could have ×4 elemental chance, I got one with a 16 mag, which is amazing. Now all I had to do was run the path to the destroyer, taking out all the guardians, and I would hit level 69 in no time at all. Another important part of Borderlands 1 is weapon proficiencies, which improve various aspects about a gun type like damage, rate of fire, and stability. You level these up by getting XP with that weapon type, and because I was getting so much from these guardians, it was skyrocketing my proficiency level. This will be important later on because my strategy for taking out Crawmerax the Invincible is by using the Skullmasher Sniper and Spectre Comm, which boosts sniper damage. But I also want my sniper proficiency to be max level for the best shot at a kill. I'll come back and check on the proficiency level later, but now let's just worry about my XP levels. I hit level 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. This is easily the best XP farm in any Borderlands game. You get anywhere from 2 to 3 levels per run. Next up was level 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, and then finally, I made it to level 69. Now that I was max level, it was time for a total gear upgrade before taking on the Knoxx DLC and final endgame content. I got a better Hellfire, an amazing shield, a new Defiler, an upgraded Volcano. I got the Orion again, which I was clearly excited about. Hey! The Equalizer Masher was also a very cool find. And finally, I got what I was looking for, an on-level and much better double anarchy. Now we can finish out the base game side missions and then move on to the Knoxx DLC. Bleeder was my first target, but got taken down very easily. I then freed Earl's best friend Scrappy. I messed around a little bit during this fight, but ended up getting a pretty nice kill. I finished up all the missions I still had in Rust Commons East, which didn't take much time at all with the current build. All I had left for the main game was just turning in the missions. I was able to turn in all 4 at the same time, and the only other places I needed to head were New Haven and Earl's scrapyard. I made my way to Helena Pierce first and turned in that mission. Then I turned in the final base game mission to Earl. I made my way over to the Knoxx DLC and made sure to pick up the Power Core mission from Marcus, which allows boosters to drop throughout the entire playthrough. It turns out the Knoxx DLC is underlevel until you beat the DLC's campaign, so I decided to do only main story missions before completing any of the side missions to make it a bit more challenging. I went ahead and grabbed the Lost Loots mission on my way. The only side mission I actually ended up completing was the Echo Collection because it was perfectly on the way to Knoxx. Because Knoxx was so underleveled, this was a joke of a fight, but don't worry, I still will have to fight him 2 more times when he's max level. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything great on my first armory run, but at least now everything is scaled up so enemies are actually threats again. Commander Kairos was my first example of this. I was able to strip his shield very easily, but even the double anarchy didn't do much to his health bar. Because I was getting so many bullets out, he was dazed most of the fight, which is what saved me from going down and just kept him in one place. Typhon was next up, and he was much easier to deal with. I kept my distance, and it seemed to help me dodge his wavy bullets and get the kill. I restored the final pumping station so I could have access to the Motorhead mission. Skyscraper and his drifter friends were giving me a difficult time, but I eventually realized that I just needed to get up close and end the fight quickly. And sure enough, it worked out great. I decided it was time for the Circle of Duty at max level, which is one of the final hurdles of the run, and it's very possible I could lose the 1 life here. I completed the first round with no major hiccups. The second round was just as easy because I still hadn't dealt with any vehicles yet. Round 3 was going well until this Lancer made its way past me. I thought I was in the clear until...
Oh my god, this might be it.
Oh my god, okay. Watching the clip back, all of my health and shield was gone instantly. Also, if I would have focused on the further badass, I don't think I would have gotten the second win. Luckily, I saw the other one closer to me and got some easy headshots, which let me pop back up. I took my time destroying the Lancer, and then more carefully this time, I killed the last 3 soldiers to end the 3rd round. I needed a good Spectre comm for the Crawmerax fight, and this was my best chance at getting one. I was very happy with this roll. The only thing that would have made it better was ammo regen, but I didn't need that for the Crawmerax fight since I'm using the Skull Masher. I had 0 issues with the 4th round and completed it pretty quickly, and just like that, the final round was complete. This is also a great time to walk around the arena and collect core since there are so many scattered everywhere. I got all the power cores I needed, then I marked off all the speed cores, and finally got all the shock ones. I was so close at this point to finishing every single mission in the DLC. I destroyed a power line next, then blew up all 10 of the bandit patrols. Because I killed so many Lance soldiers in the Circle of Duty, I could now turn in Mop Up to Marcus and get another go at the armory. Before I did anything else, I destroyed all the drones around T-Bone, then erased all the graffiti from Moxie. I took out the final squad leader, then I went around looting all of the buried Knoxx chests. This mission is very fun, but sadly, I got absolute garbage from every single one of the chests. I then looped the loop with the monster, cause I'm just like that. I killed Ajax, but I did not get his ogre. I rode a gondola, and then placed a bug. And finally, I was able to fight an on-level General Knoxx. While he definitely was more tanky, it was still a very easy fight. I did take my time getting my gear set up, and because of it, it was paying off with the amount of damage I was doing. Sadly, I got nothing good from the armory again, and the double anarchy I did find was much worse than the one I already had. Before I complete the final few Knoxx missions, there were some missions from Marcus that I completely forgot about in the Claptrap DLC, so I needed to deal with those if I wanted to complete every single mission in playthrough 2. I collected all 6 tires for Marcus, and then collected some Claptrap components for efficiency's sake, and I was actually able to get all 42 parts before heading back, which was great. Next up for Tanis was 75 Claptrap components, while Marcus needed me to go around grabbing his bobbleheads. I was able to grab all 10 of the bobbleheads with ease and ended up collecting 70 out of 75 of the Claptrap parts, which was slightly unfortunate. So I did end up going and grabbing the extra 5 parts before doing the next mission for Marcus. When I did actually start the mission, the Skag glands were very easy to grab, and I was originally worried about Rack Trap Hive, but keeping distance made this one of the easiest fights in the game. And for the final mission Marcus gave me, I went around collecting spice plants and taking out Rack. Once that was done, I headed back to him and turned it in just to be rewarded with a mid SMG. Keeping with the theme, I did another annoying mission for Marcus next, which had me go back to the prison to kill 50 of the prisoners. Once that was done, I took a break to fight Motorhead, who turned out to be an absolute tank. The Hellfire was doing enough damage to keep him stunned, so he eventually dropped. Speaking of drops, he did not drop the chopper, sadly. I then turned in the Wanted Dead mission, which was in a pretty weird spot. I then turned in both missions to Moxie, messed around with her weird floating hat, and then happened to get 2 legendaries in one vendor, so that was pretty cool. I turned in the Motorhead mission, and then I had to go around taking down 100 midgets, which seems like a strange request for Marcus to make, but I already came this far, so there's no turning back now. And just as I was complaining about being 1 short, the final Skag Rider appeared out of absolutely nowhere just to answer my call. And now I was able to pick up the final armory mission from Marcus. To no one's surprise, this Knoxx had the same fate as the countless others I fought during this playthrough, and while running through the armory, I also had the same fate of getting absolutely nothing like in previous runs. With that run completed, the only mission I had left in the Knoxx DLC was You Will Die. It was now time to shift all my focus to Crawmerax the Invincible, the largest hurdle of this run. My strategy was to take down the playthrough 1 version of Craw first as sort of a test run for what to expect from the playthrough 2 version, which is quite a bit more difficult. My loadout for the fight is the Volcano if I need to deal with the green Craw worms, the Skull Masher for dealing damage to Craw itself, the Orion for dealing with Craw maggots, and the Crux for the armored Craw worms. I have a pretty solid shield, and then the great Spectre comm I got from the Circle of Duty. You can tell I was pretty nervous heading over. This level 35 Lancer just started bullying me and almost threw me off the bridge on the way to fight Craw, which would have just been terrible. The rest of the drive went great, and I finally made it to Crawmerax's lair. I was able to line up an easy headshot as I made it out of the elevator and shot off one of his arms before almost getting launched off the edge by a Craw maggot. Okay. With all 4 of the arms gone at this point, all I needed to do now was get Craw moved over a little bit and then run back to the other rock. I got his attention and I knew it was time to go. I'll let the rest play out. Yes, dude! Yes! We beat Craw on playthrough 1. Let's go, dude. Let's go. That was a very clean kill, too. I was very happy with that. He rewarded me with an even better Skull Masher. Now that playthrough 1 Craw was defeated with ease, it was now time to head over to playthrough 2 with my upgraded Skull Masher, and still no pearls, to take out the much more difficult version. In playthrough 1, the Skull Masher build I have was able to take out all of his crit spots in 1 shot. However, in playthrough 2, that's not the case. Even with this crazy critical damage, I'm gonna have to hit the face and back multiple times. And because of that, there's a very real possibility my run will end here. Without any further waiting, here's the Crawmerax fight on playthrough 2. Oh, come on, hit that shot. Oh, God. Okay, this is gonna be bad. I couldn't get his face. Oh, my God. Yeah, this might be it, guys. Okay. Yep, okay. Come on. Let's go, dude. Let's go. 2-time. We have almost completed the 100% 1 life. The Pearl has eluded us again, I think, but that's okay. I am happy nonetheless. Now every single mission in the Knoxx DLC is complete. I turned in You Will Die and then gave both of the missions back to Marcus. All I have left are 3 things now. Collecting Claptrap components for Tanis, collecting brains for TK, and the final mission is completing the 3 smaller Underdome Coliseums. I decided to throw on the Defiler and the Plaguebearer comm to make taking out Claptrap units extremely easy. In all honesty, these missions are very mindless, and as long as you're watching the map for enemies sneaking up on you, it can be completed in no time at all. The first 100 Claptrap parts went by very quick, and after a much longer section of mobbing, it took about 4 complete runs through this map. I made it to 150 parts, and now I have completed every single mission in the Claptrap DLC. Now it's time to collect brains in the Ned DLC. I decided to throw the double anarchy back on just for the sheer amount of damage it can do. This mission felt much quicker than the Claptrap one, I think because of how many brains you can get on one map. I got exactly 150 on my first run through, so I'd only need one save quit. All I have left now is to turn this mission into Zombie TK Baja, and I will have completed every single mission in the Ned DLC. Boom. Now I'll make my way over to the Underdome. I'll make this section quick because I don't think anyone wants to watch the Underdome. I started with Hellburbia and there wasn't much to say. I do like the aesthetic of this arena, but I think it has to be the worst layout wise. And boom, it was really that easy since it's just basic mobbing for 25 waves straight. I decided to keep with the order on the mission, so I did the Angelic Runes next. Nothing really to say about this one other than I think it's probably the easiest and the layout isn't too bad at all. And would you look at that, I completed another Coliseum. The final location is the goalie, which does have the best layout in my opinion, but only because of the teleporters. If it didn't have those, it would be the worst layout, hands down. This would have gone super smooth, but unfortunately on the badass wave of round 4, for some reason, the round would not change. Maybe an enemy didn't spawn, or it got locked out of the map, but for some unknown reason, I had to save quit and start the goalie completely over again. But like I said, this is just boring mobbing that can be destroyed with a good build, and just like that, the goalie was done. Giving a quick recap, I wanted to reach max level, complete every single mission in playthrough 2, DLCs included, kill Crawmerax the Invincible, and do all of that without dying. And with all of my major goals complete, I'm happy to say I've completed the Borderlands 1 life with Lilith. And it's definitely made me a better Borderlands player all around. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. It really helps out the channel. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.